When I first saw Mortal Shell 2 being announced, I was skeptical. Will it be like the first game? And the first Mortal Shell never really clicked with me, even though I did beat it. But after playing the beta for Mortal Shell 2, I was wrong. It's nothing like the first game. It is so much fun. It's like they took the two best mechanics, which are the hardening and the shell mechanics, and made an entire different game around them. And it works. I am not going to talk much about the first game because I don't really remember every detail about it. I remember it being really unforgiving, with a lot of group enemy placements being really in your face all of the time, where the game was basically like, don't get hit and you beat it, and I don't really like that. It was also less polished in terms of animation and gameplay because it felt really clunky. For example, if you got hit hard, you got ragdolled off the map, for example, which was funny, but it didn't make the game better. But none of that is in 2. That is why I wanted to make this video, to tell you that Mortal Shell 2 is the better sequel, so if you played the first game and didn't like it, don't write off the second game just yet. And if you do enjoy Soulslikes, I think this is a game that can give you a unique experience, so let's talk about it. What I really like about 2 is how they use the shell mechanic around the gameplay. You're still the harbinger in the game who possesses the shells to gain their abilities. These shells serve as an extra type of armor and use their unique stats to make builds. But it is not like your typical leveling system where you just collect XP and level up different attributes. No, here you have to find shells during exploration in the open world, which looks amazing by the way, but I talk a little bit more about that later. When you find shells, you also have to find a specific item called glimpse while exploring to upgrade them, which I really enjoy because it rewards me for taking it slow and exploring everything in the game. When you find glimpse, you can upgrade your shells, unlocking their unique abilities and enhance them even further. The shell Teal, for example, will have skills around using his stealth, stab ability and dodging, but also enhancing poison effects. So the build will be more focused around dodging and poison use for this shell. Other shells will have different abilities and builds, which I can't wait to explore. You also unlock memories and story about the shell if you upgrade them, giving the shell their own identity. Weapons in the game you find are not shell bound, so if you like to use a weapon, you can just use it whenever you want. And talking about weapons, you also have ranged weapons, and these pack a real punch. Using ranged weapons and your shell ability will cost resolve. This is the mechanic that forces you to get in close and hit enemies with your melee weapon to regain resolve, so you can then use your abilities or range weapon again because they tend to do more damage, so you want to use them. When you are in close combat, you have multiple defense options. You can easily dodge in this game because there is no stamina bar, so you don't have to back off to regain stamina and can just focus on dodging attacks. Enemies do track you really well, so you got to dodge at the right time. Other than dodging, you can also block and deflect attacks, which can be done with seals. These seals give you different options for blocking attacks. One of the most memorable is the hardening mechanic seal, which turns you into stone to block attacks, but also freezes you in place. This means you can harden in the middle of your own combo, allowing you to keep up the pressure or block during an attack. If you time your deflect perfectly, you regain your hardening bar back instantly, so you can keep on blocking. And with every well-timed deflect, you deal break damage, and if this bar fills up, you can perform a riposte to deal massive damage. Other than the hardening seal, you can use different block and deflect options if you don't want to turn into stone, but turning into stone can also block fall damage, so keep that in mind, but it can't save you when you fall off the map. Enemies also perform attacks that you can't block with your seal, so you still have to dodge those, keeping deflect spamming out of the picture. If your health reaches 0 while inside your shell, you don't die immediately. Instead, the Harbinger will take the shell's place, giving you a second chance to keep fighting. But unlike in the first game, you actually have a decent amount of health. While fighting as the Harbinger, you can attack enemies to spill blood, and once you spilled enough, you can re-enter your shell again, regaining all of its abilities and effects with an extra second chance again. You can enhance yourself even further with Tar Stones. These give you passive bonuses, weapon infusions, and abilities that can be slotted for both melee and ranged weapons, and some of these abilities are weapon bound, so they don't work with all the weapons. These Tar Stones can be leveled up by the looks of it, although in the demo I couldn't really get them to level up. I don't know what it triggers. Consumables you find during exploring work a little bit different compared to other games. Instead of being able to use them from the inventory, you will get the bonus straight up when you pick them up. But they all come with a passive bonus the more you pick them up and have them in your inventory. This, again, emphasizes exploring, which for me is great. The progression overall is very simple. In Mortal Shell 2, you will have a general hub area in the open world where you can upgrade your weapons, shells, and potentially tar stones. All of these require specific items that can be found in the open world alongside finding new weapons and shells. When you explore the open world, you will find checkpoints, and these can be entered to cleanse them. Here you have to beat a unique dungeon filled with enemies and also can contain unique rewards, and mostly there is a strong enemy at the end, which then opens up a pathway or gives a reward around that checkpoint. At these checkpoints you can level up your character, which gives you fixed stats increases, so there are no attributes, which makes build switching easier because they are bound to which shell you are currently using instead of stats. You can also upgrade your main healing item here once you have found the required upgrade item. You can teleport in this game, but it happens in a more story-driven way, and I don't mind that, although it takes a little bit longer than other games. Here you can use a checkpoint to return to the hub, and then within this hub you can go to the top of the tower and slingshot yourself to checkpoints you have already discovered. The world of Mortal Shell 2 I found very unique. I can't wait to explore all of it. It feels so mysterious walking around. The vibe really wants me to take my time and explore every corner to discover every unique location. Every time you see a huge place in the distance obscured by fog and then you finally get close to it, it just blows your mind. The boss fights are really something else. They're visually amazing and also very thoughtful in their design. The goat flute guy was really unique and very fun to beat when I did the beta, and the boss afterwards was even more insane, but I don't want to spoil that one for you. Be sure to check out the beta because you really need to experience it to understand what I mean. With this combat system, fighting these bosses is just so much fun. Not only the bosses, but all of the enemies are fun to fight. It feels really satisfying to perfect block attacks for a repost to deal massive damage to them and keep up the aggression with your gun and abilities, and then after you do have to get in close again to regain your resolve, and the cycle repeats. The game is still challenging. You can take a lot of damage if you aren't careful, especially with newer enemies you haven't faced before, where you have to test the moveset of the enemies and memorize them. This is where the hardening mechanic is of great use, because you can still deflect attacks while you are turning into stone, so you can test the timing when you are about to get hit with attacks and try to perfect block them the next time. Definitely a game I didn't think would be this much fun. I hope you got a good picture of why I think Mortal Shell 2 is going to be a great time and nothing like the first game. Let me know your opinion about the game in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one.